here at the back of the machine. Got the chain case on the side obviously, but most importantly your rear roller, or more specifically the two rear roller halves. Some of the big machines have 3 parts to the roller, most of them will have 2, which allows you to maneuver the machine a little bit more easily in terms of turning one way or the other. Your nameplate for the machine itself. Oddly enough, this machine has a model number of 380031, which you might be able to see, which is an edger as far as I know, so it's most likely been lifted off another machine and popped back on this thing when it was last quote-unquote restored. A few little cosmetic points. This is the little plate that connects the 2 halves of the handlebar, keeps it all rigid when there's bolts in there. Obviously there's a little decal or sticker on the front there as well. Around the side, got a chain case. There's the little red cap, as I believe it's called, up the top. And the chain case sometimes has a little sticker on it as well. So that's the 14-inch solid deck Scott Bonnar 45. Before we start tearing it down into bits and pieces, or more bits and pieces than it's already in, I'm not going to bother trying to start it because I know it won't start, and I don't need it running anyway. And I'm sure you don't need another video of a running lawnmower. Next up, we'll be taking this machine apart. All of these bits and pieces are all coming off. The frame, the chain case, the catcher, the deflector, the cradle for the front roller, the handlebars, they're all going to get sandblasted, professionally hopefully, and resprayed. The reel's going to get replaced, going to get a new one of them. Might do that as sort of stage 2 just to save a bit on cost and reuse this one for now, but at the very least it'll get sandblasted and resprayed as well. Replace the corks in the top clutch and the drive clutch. As I said, new motor on there. Probably put a new set of fasteners on here from Cameron Petrie as well. The stainless steel are about $100, so they're not cheap, but I had to cut a few of the fasteners off the twin rails, so it's maybe worth looking at. Chains, I might keep them. The sprockets I'd like to replace eventually. Haven't had a close look at these ones to decide whether they're any good and worth keeping or not, but we'll see. They don't look too bad. The deflector clamp screws on here are from a twin, so I'll get George Bon Mod's brass clamp screws to replace them. The clutch body itself looks a little bit iffy. At the very least I'm going to probably need a new cotter pin for it, or grub screw. Bearings will typically replace, so this one up here, maybe. Definitely the 2 bearings on either side of the reel. The drum roller bearings, probably keep them because they're not cheap, but we'll see. While it's out, it's probably worth replacing it, but as I say, they're not cheap. Put a new front roller on there. We'll do, Lincoln Mead makes one of the high cut front rollers, which I want on there for my grass. And he sells a new front cradle as well that sort of matches because they're zinc plated and they look pretty, but it would be nice to match. The catcher itself probably needs a little bit of hammering to get some bumps and that sort of stuff out of it. The handlebars, probably alright. Missing a screw for this plate, so I'll need a new screw. Need some new grips. All that black schmud's got to come off. Might powder coat the frame itself and the handlebars, but we'll see, depending on cost. And the drum at the back is going to get a good cleanup. I'm hoping we can reuse the roller as it is, but to pull it apart and see what's inside. So all up, it's a pretty straightforward machine. There's some bits and pieces that go back together one at a time. As long as you have a rough idea where they go, either how you took them apart or using the exploded rover diagrams, which is quite helpful, you should be able to get it back together, maybe with some adjustments if needed. And as I said, my plan is to get this machine back up and running for springtime so I can cut this into one.